All right, welcome everybody to what will be an incredibly fun 1v1 game. So this is game number 2 in Masters of Hyperrandom. And just to explain how Hyperrandom works, it's a tourney like Mega Random where the maps can be crazy and you can start with different things, except the resources themselves also are different. So, for example, the goat has 110 food on it instead of 100. This gold tile, 1230 gold instead of 800. This boar, 216 instead of 340. So as you play it, and the bush has 166. As you play it, you have to adapt, okay? Now, what I've never seen before is players starting with a Feitoria, and Feitorias are building that takes up 20 population space, which is why they're pop capped. Takes up 20 population space, but gives you a trickle of all resources. And Portuguese is the only civilization that can make Feitorias. However, with this one, they started with Feitorias. So they both are going to have sick economies. I mean, it hurt to be pop capped at the start. Their economies are going to be looking great. And now this is a whole nother level of adapting, because with the amount of stone and gold they have coming in, they probably would never need to go to gold for archers, never need to go to gold for fast castle. You can kind of see already that we're just going to have a heavy food start with maybe just one on wood. I honestly feel like any villagers on wood right now is a mistake if you're red. Now, I should point out that Derp is he's the overdog because Red's the underdog. Derp is around 90th in the world right now, maybe like 80th, something like that. He's the best player in the Netherlands at the moment. He's been around for years, but he's really upped his level this year. And Karnal's a Russian player who's also been around a while, but he's a couple hundred world rankings below Derp. Now, other things of this map, Jen, is you've got wolves here, so we could have some woo-woo-woos. And it's just a massive hill between the players. I feel like whoever controls this will definitely be sitting pretty for the rest of the game. It's actually so beneficial for Derp to take the hill because Derp's Feitoria is on the back. Red's Feitoria is on the front. What else I noticed is that they're kind of blocked off from the other areas of the map. They would have to chop through to get to this, for example. Imagine chopping through and encountering even more wolves. It's almost like Black Forest in a way, where there's a choke point through the middle. I do really like how there's one relic there in the center. So we're going to see some crazy uptimes here, and potentially even fast castle as the strategy. You'd think on somewhat open maps, and I would consider this still somewhat open, that can be walled easily. Sometimes you'd think, maybe we'll see some archers or scouts or something for some control. Especially in the high pressure situations, you might want to go for control over defense. And oh god, here goes the villager. Okay, so we've got the woo-woo-woo. The red is Cummins. They go random civ, and red, is he going to block the wolves right now? He's going to shoot the wolves. Okay, woo-woo-woo. Wait, that wolf, oh my god, what difficulty do they have this on? The higher difficulty you have, the higher vision your wolves have. Which is kind of a funny thing with Age of Empires. It's very possible they have it on extreme with that vision. It's actually something they have in tournament rules. Like, you have to have it on standard. Because obviously a wolf hitting you from further away could make a big deal. Or make a big change. But, or be a big deal. Sorry, I can't speak. But yeah, Cummins is good to go 2 TCs. So I think Karnal might consider adding a second town center. But he only has 9 villagers. And the optimal amount of villagers to build your second TC with, per a lot of people's testing, is 8. So he would be building his TC with all of his villagers except for 1. How funny is this? Okay, here's Derp. Derp's going to wall up. I think he realized real early what type of game this is going to be. And Derp's going to go fast castle here. And if you think about it, this could be perfect for Lithuanians. Because Lithuanians are known for going for a lot of monk play because their monasteries produce faster. Derp is also an arena player, so we know that he's capable there. I think if you were to just take the hill with a couple monasteries, go for siege, and then have a Feitoria, which gives you a trickle of stone to eventually drop a castle, it'd be really, really strong. And you can see how long it's going to take Red for this TC to pay off. I honestly think Red has made a couple mistakes. I mean, he is worse. But I would definitely have made sure that I had more villagers on this TC. Instead, he's had the villagers on boars. I don't think he needs to prioritize food income to this level when you have that Feitoria. Whoa, that must have been a misclick. That's funny. He wanted to make a house. I think he's realizing the TC will go up. Here's Red Scout. He will see walls if he looks for it. He did scout the back of his base. I actually think he's auto-scouting right now, which is kind of funny to see from this level. And there goes Derpy Derp on the way up. What will Derp's approach be? I mean, maybe you want to boom. Nope, he's adding the barracks, guys. I think this is a perfect spot for a player like Derp to try and take the hill. Go Spearman. Maybe go for some monks. You can win with Relic Victory in this tourney. You can thank me for that because I played in a show match and the games went on super, super long. And I was like, listen, I think we might need Wonder or Relic Victory so the games don't go on for 3 hours. I literally had a game go on for 3 hours and 30 minutes, guys. Just in a show match. It was brutal. But it was also really fun, and I felt really accomplished after I won. No one really wins when a game goes on that long. No one really wins. Everyone loses. Maybe the viewers win. I don't know. But okay, let's see. Man, it's so weird to see their eco pops and then look at their resources. It's so crazy to me. Okay, Derp is going to add the TCs. Okay, so different approach from Derp than I expected here. Because I felt like it also would be really cool to be able to pressure that Feitoria. All right. Well, then, Carnal is going to be feeling very good about the situation. Carnal needs to remember houses. That has been Carnal's main struggle every time I look over at his base. But maybe he is intentionally idling right now. He wants to click up to Castle Age. Very close to having the res for it. And there he goes. Still will need a house to produce villagers out of the other TC. This TC on the way to Castle. This TC needs to produce villagers. And if you're wondering what the rating difference is, Carnal's like an 18 or 1900 player. Derp is around 2K1, 2K2. It's weird, though. There's a couple hundred ELO differences between these two. And then there's a couple hundred world ranking difference. So when you get to like the top 500, the difference in individuals in the world between them is often 1 ELO. Actually, that's not true at all. I think that would only be the case from like 1900 to 2K1. Because, for example, I'm currently ranked 65th. And I'm like a little over 2K2. And then let's use Viper, for example. I think he's 2K5. So there's technically 64 spots between myself and the best player in the world. But there's like 400 ELO. or maybe 300 ELO difference. So I guess it just depends. We've got a boomy game. We've got a boomy game. We have walls now for Carnal. He is on stone, though, so I think he's going to open up these walls. It would be such a mistake for him to drop a defensive castle in this situation. I think going for a castle on this hill is just perfect. Because what the last thing you want to do is drop a castle here and then have the enemy take control of the hill. Derp is actually having some problem. You know, it's deceiving. I see 8 on food, and I think that he's going to have problems producing vills. But he has the Feitoria, so who knows about that? Also, he's going to get some relics now. That's relic number 2 for him. Relic number 3 is over here. There are more relics on the map, so I don't see Relic Victory being possible. And people are probably wondering how it works with Relic Victory when there's more than 5 relics. Do you need 5 to get the relic countdown? And the answer is you need all of them. Now, there can be as low as 2 relics on a map. So you could get Relic Victory with just 2 relics. So this tourney really promotes scouting and adapting more than others. And, okay, he's going to go defensive castle. Now, here's what you could do, though. You could go 1 or 2 kip checks, control the middle, then drop the next castle here, and then go for some type of fast imp play. He doesn't exactly know what's coming, right? So, this is okay. Okay, Derp has the Vil lead now because he's on 3 TCs and has been on 3 TCs for a while. Plus, if you look at the TC idle time, Carnal could have done a better job there. Feitoria start. Here comes the kip check. We'll see what Red's strategy is. 2 TC fast imp is a very well-known strategy with the Kumans. Because you're going to have, I mean, even without the Feitoria, you're typically going to have a lot of food eco. And Derp is now buying food. And I just wonder what Derp's strat's going to be here. He's adding a siege workshop. I really feel like taking the initiative and pressuring would have been the better option here. But maybe he expected the defensive Kuman Castle against an all-in push. Maybe he didn't think the timing would be right. All right. Ricardo, what's up? He says, hey, I just joined. Why do the Lithuanians have a Feitoria? What are you talking about, man? Does anyone else see a Feitoria? I definitely don't see a Feitoria. You need to get your eyes checked, man. Lithuanians don't get Feitorias. What are you talking about? I don't see anything. Imagine if this guy did, like... Imagine if he's, like, 3 beers deep right now, and he's like, what? Am I that drunk? Why do I see that? No one else sees it. This is hyper random, man. Anything can happen. They started with this. And there goes Imp for Carnal. Okay, I'm liking this a whole lot more right now. Now I'd like to see Fletching upgrade come in. I'd like to see all those important upgrades come in. And so Derp's going to have the Vil lead. But Derp could be pushed back heavily with a forward castle and Trebs. And that's the idea. Okay, there's 152 food on each deer. And so I guess Red wants to take that. But honestly, at this stage of the game, I'd say invest into farms. From a pro farmer himself, invest into farms. What a sick boom from Derp, though. So Derp's approach has to be save up for Imp as well and go defensive castle. And then I think since Lithuanians get Bombard Cannon, I think you'd need to go for something like early university. Or it doesn't have to be early. Just get a university up. And yeah, okay, he does not see the foundation like we do. Okay, guys, there's an opportunity. If he sees this is coming, he can fire and destroy the castle. The deer will block it. He could fire. Oh, man. The deer gave him an extra second. Okay, so he cannot deny that. I don't know what Carnal's up to, man. He made this mill and didn't take any deer around it. And now he's making this mill, too. I mean, Fast Imp, taking deer, kip check. Interesting strat. But yeah, now what Derp has to do, I think, is you build your castle. Oh, man, this is such a tricky spot to be in. I really don't know. I'm not familiar with Carnal's skill set as a player. So I'm a little uncertain on if this is the type of push that suits him. But I do think this is a good strat. But yeah, Derp needs to make a castle that can't be trebbed until after Red breaks through the walls. And that's good. And he's going to prep ranges now. So maybe he wants to go skirmishers with Lithuanians. He's also... He's not completely sure this is blocked off, so he's making outposts. He's also looking for relic number 3, which is out there. Could expand some of his eco down here. I mean, he's got a lot of eco on this part of the screen. And Red is going to make trebs. And Red wants to break through this house and then that stone wall, which I think is a good move. Now, here's where it gets complicated. A lot of players would make an argument for a third town center right now for Red. He's been on 2 for a while. But I think if you do that, then you're not going to be able to really... You're not going to have as convincing a push. So I think he needs both of his castles making trebs for now. I think he needs to continue with kip checks. And then if he senses that Derp's going to hold, and it honestly feels like Derp will... He hasn't pushed through yet. I think if he senses that Derp is going to hold, what he needs to do is he needs to add that third TC. I don't know if the instinct to take out the monastery is great, because that's just going to give Derp a heads up that he needs to move them. Derp, a lot of players forget about the forward monastery until their monastery goes down, so now Derp's going to say, hey, really good idea, actually. Let's go home with the monastery in the corner. Here's a little woo-woo-woo. I would have liked the idea of trebbing down the TC if you're Red. And now that I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, yeah, definitely go for the third TC. And he did. But the way he's built his houses, everything's very cramped here, I have to say. I guess it's kind of cramped in general. And yep, there goes Derp. He goes, oh yeah, would have forgot about that. Thank you. I'm going to take those relics now. And Derp is going Cav Archers here. Does anyone remember if Lithuanians get heavy Cav Archer? I honestly don't mind the Cav Archer choice. I do mind the fact that Red still didn't treb down a town center. That bothers me. Because one of those trebs on the town center would have been good. But I think Red's just going to sit back now. I think the worry is Lithuanians get Bombard Cannon. So if Derp gets Chemistry, he can then make Bombard Cannons out of his Siege Workshops. And so it won't just be trebs, it will be Bombard Cannons. And I think Lithuanian Cav Archers, at least based on what Capture Age is telling me, is not an awful choice. Because they get full attack. They get full armor. Do they get Thumb Ring? I honestly don't know if they get Thumb Ring. Here comes some Kip checks. The Kip checks will be outranged by Cav Archers, and in this case, kind of outmassed as well. Their Derp will lose a TC. Could be a super long game, my friend, but it all depends on if Red can hold. Kumans do not get Bombard Cannon. So he's going to need to hold back. He could consider Onager. He's going to go Kuman Mercenaries right now. So that gives him 10 free Elite Kip check. Is that worth it? Did he mean to get the other unique tech? The other unique tech is Step Husbandry, which means you can produce your Hussars faster from your stables. And now he's adding stables. So I don't know if you clicked the wrong one. We'll find out if he makes the Kip checks, because I think he got the wrong tech here. I actually don't remember the cost of Kuman Mercenaries. I so rarely see it researched. I really hope he realizes what he did there. All right, here comes the Trebs from Derp. Now, this is where Bombard Cannons are going to help. It's very clumped up in here. Still no Siege Workshop. And wow, Lithuanians get Thumb Ring. So yeah, these Cav Archers are going to be really strong. No, he got the wrong tech, guys. He thinks he's going to be spamming Light Cav faster. He got the wrong tech. That's so bad. Okay, well, I say give up on this castle at the moment. And build this one. Maybe you try and do both, I guess. I don't mind the idea of spamming Hussars, but what hurts is that it's a very clumped up map, and it's hard to have the farming eco you would want for a lot of Hussar spam. On the bright side, if he realizes he can produce 10 free Elite Kip checks. But I think Karnal's made some grave errors here, and oh wow, Derp is going to dive. And what a good decision from Derp. He knows he has the numbers. He knows these aren't elite. There's not a single armor upgrade for these things, so... Karnal falling back now, and he's doing the right thing with his Trep here. I mean, if he loses this hill, man, Derp is going to push, and Derp is going to push with a vengeance. Derp is going for Halb right now. The perfect move. The perfect move in this situation is to go into Pointy Boys, because you just saw some Light Cav. You know you've taken out a castle. So, he's not going to be able to make Kip checks any longer, which means he has no counter to Halb. Also getting the perfect unique tech, Tower Shield, so he knows what's up. And that will give his trash units extra armor. And Derp has just shown his class here with his boom and with his ability to get the proper techs, make the proper units, expand his economy. He quite simply is a player who's higher elo, and we can see it. And I think Karnal, I mean, this guy's played like 4,000 games. So I think Karnal knows that Kumans have two unique techs and that they're very different. But I think he's just so stressed, he probably just clicked the wrong one. And here he finally gets the final armor for his Light Cav, but even that probably won't be enough. His Trebs are hitting Cav Archers, but how long is that going to last with 43 army against 9? And so I think the fast imp needed to do more damage. And it just wasn't enough. And again, we just saw the elo difference there. But that was still a really interesting map. And I think that game had a little bit more potential, you know? It had a little bit more potential than it showed, unfortunately. But I am curious on people's thoughts on it. I think Derp... Like, let me put it this way. If Karnal would have gone Lithuanians and played like Derp did, I think that Derp would have done a better job in Karnal's position with the 2 TCs. I think the first castle was far too passive, right? There was nothing out there from Derp. He was just booming. If that first castle's on the walls, he probably breaks through, and then the second castle could be here. And that's the position you needed with a Treb push, guys. Because then where's Derp going to build this castle? Derp could build this castle safely with this castle. But if it's boom, boom with this type of a push, then what happens is Derp has some much bigger problems. He can't expand his economy to the same degree. And that's kind of how you win with these low eco pushes. Of course, researching the wrong unique tech didn't help Red either, but those are the things you've got to do. And it just comes down to being the underdog. Red's the underdog, and he says, you know what? He's going to stop me in some way. He lacked the confidence to go forward and do the right thing there. The Feitorias start was interesting, wasn't it? Look at that. Okay, great recovery with dirt, but the economy. He had more wood, he had more food, he had more golds. And, I mean, listen, every time I play in this tourney, I did play my first round and get through, I always get water maps. I get nomad starts and I get water maps. And while this is very similar to Black Forest and it might not, be my favorite type of map, I hope I get a Feitoria someday. Actually, no, I want 2 Feitorias. And hopefully I'm Huns. That would be so OP. To not get pop capped for their first 2 minutes would be so OP there.